Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Nerdicus Dave, and tonight I'm joined by this nerd.
Narcus Ted, how are you doing this fine and lovely evening, sir?
Good man, I'm doing good.
That is always good to hear.
Just living the dream.
Tonight we're supposed to be talking about the schools of magic and being all mumbo jumbo-y.
I don't know about mumbo jumbo, but
No,
magic,
no mumbo jumbo.
magically delicious. How about that? Or is that my rap name? I don't know.
Magically delicious.
That's
A
yeah.
rap name. I don't know if that's got enough.
I'm going on tour any day now.
I don't know if that's got
Maybe I'll
enough.
just stick to D&D. I don't know.
Yeah, that might be better recommended. I don't think magically delicious really
Yeah.
sells the sizzle with street.
I don't know. I keep we our one cat. We call him Big Fluffy. That's his rap name.
Well, my big cat, he's over 20 pounds, and all of our cats have a theme with their name, geisha, samurai, and monk, and we jokingly make the statement that maybe we should have called him Sumo instead of Samurai, but I now call him Tubbs.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you should have named him E Honda. I'm not sure. He's a big boy. I don't think our big boy weighs nearly that much, but he's got a super impressive primordial pouch. That's what really
Yes,
matters.
yes, he does.
I mean, our
Uh,
our dog
so
lives in terror of that cat.
so wizards or schools of magic.
Yeah, man, you're running a campaign right now that's kind of based around this.
It is indeed. So, if you happen to check out the Chaos Crew or Untraditionally Arcane, we're still looking to, plot episode 3. Right now, we're looking at the first Friday in April. There's definitely been some scheduling conflicts that have happened. I almost had it nailed down for the 26th, and that just completely exploded. So yeah, we're still getting that figured out, but the first couple of sessions have gone. Everybody's having a blast with it. An entirely wizard party. So yeah, fun.
Is this the first game you've run with all of the same class?
In all of my years of play, absolutely. This is the first time where everybody has been, the same thing with me as the GM. We've gone through oh well, everyone has to be themed this way, or we need to get in all of the MMO criteria. There's a tank and a healer and all that stuff. This is the first time I'm like, now we're gonna push all of that stuff to the side. Everybody's a wizard. And it went even further than that, of like, you can't be any of the 8 core schools of magic either. So that we got to see some of the other fun stuff that's out there and tap into it. And I had story reason for it as well, which wound up getting explained in that very first episode, so that there's some fun and enjoyment to be had later.
So I don't want to go into any spoilers for your campaign or
Sure.
anything. Um, have you had any combats yet?
I have not. Most of what's happened so far, has been, investigation and conversation for the most part. We discussed, as a group, that it is definitely going to be combat light of a game, but combat will happen, and when it does, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens with that. Chris wants to know that everyone failed a con save for daylight saving. Would it be a con save or a wisdom save? I don't
I
know.
I definitely am feeling it as a con save.
Yeah, today, yeah. I don't know. Losing the hour kind of sucks. In the last couple of days, I've just like, in addition to that, just gotten up early,
Mhm.
and I'm like laying in bed. I'm like, I could like try and sleep, or I could go do something productive, which then just wipes me out for the rest of the day. And then also today, I got my first shot of the vaccine, so I don't know if that's part of the factor or if I'm just tired. So
Well,
after this is over, I'll probably pass out.
I know for me, I was the first one to actually get out of bed this morning.
Uh,
And lately, that's usually I'm the last. Wife woke up with a migraine, so she just like, nope, I'm just grabbing the phone, sending a message into work saying, nope, I'll be in later. Both kids had to get woken up, and son 10 minutes late to school, daughter, you got 25 minutes to be in the car to get to school because she's doing hybrid.
did someone cast an empowered sleep spell on your whole house?
I don't know, it's possible. But like I got up and I got my day started, and I was dragging my feet the entire day. I was even yawning just before we hit the go button. I'm like, all right, I need sugars, I need something to keep myself going. And you know it's just it's been rough.
Wake up! Viking Beard wants to know how many players in your wizard game. What do you got? 4 or 5?
We have 5. So we have a Graviturgy wizard. We have a Beardomancer, which is put out by Nerdarchy.
By far the most powerful school of wizardry there ever was.
We have an Onomancer, which was an unearthed arcana, but never made it. We have a Order of the Scribe and a Blade Singer. So it's a nice little mix. Got some fun characters in there. There's definitely some unspoken plot threads that have already begun to settle in.
I guess your Blade Singer is going to be your tank. See, that's what the internet tells me anyway.
The Blade Singer is supposed to be the tank, and our Graviturgy wizard has actually taken the mark of healing.
Okay.
Technically have a healer.
That'll be fine. The only problem with with the Blade Singer, or really any wizard tanking, is the fact that, especially when you do it via armor class, right? It's all well and good until you do get hit. Because when you do get hit, inevitably it's probably a crit. And at the end of the day, you still got wizard hit points.
You still have a D6 hit die.
Yeah. Viking Beard, it is online and you can watch it. It's on Nerdarchy Live.
It's on the live channel, which you're here now right already. Now. So, you can just head over to,
I'm like, why am I saying that? They're literally on the channel right now. So, yeah.
So you can go watch the first 2 episodes and, meet all of these, fine and fabulous people and characters.
Are you doing 2-hour sessions with that game?
Yeah, we're aiming for the 2-hour session mark. Unlike the previous Chaos Crew games where I was running prepared material.
Yeah.
This is definitely my own storyline, so it's a lot easier to tailor, that ebb and flow. End on some fun elements and what have you. So,
do you have a favorite school magic?
I mean, there's definitely so many fun things. It depends upon where you want to go. But if
I didn't ask you all that. I just said you got a favorite school magic.
If push came to shoves, I would choose Conjuration.
Conjuration's a good one. So I played an Invoker that became a war magic wizard.
Mm-hmm.
But I must say, I've always had a fondness for Illusion.
Illusion definitely, in the hands of a imaginative player, can be downright amazing.
Also, it's better in this edition than previous editions. Because in previous editions, I feel like there was so many more monsters that were just immune to Illusion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's less of an issue. But you still have the problem with Illusion that there is no getting over DMs that are a dick.
And that is part of the problem. I do feel, again, if you've got an imaginative player, you can use Illusion to get around so many things. But DMs are some DMs are frequently tied into, well, I prepared this, I don't like you trying to subvert or get around. there should be a combat here. I want you to fight this thing.
Yeah.
And if you use trickery to get through it, they feel cheated. And I think at times I've been that DM, and I'm like, no, you got to do this. Nowadays I'm like, all right, great, we don't need to do a combat. Shove everything to the side and keep going and have fun. So it really depends upon you know who the DM, who is behind that screen, and how they're going to interpret things. But I want to I want to reward creativity. I don't want to punish players. But every decision is going to have, its ups and downs. If you convince a monster not to fight and it happens to have something that's treasure, okay, well, unless you trick them into giving it to you, which, may or may not happen, the players might miss out on rewards. But if they negate the combat and keep playing, that's okay too.
So if you were to play a untraditional wizard in your own game, which one would have you gone with?
So I don't remember. I think it was a website post. I think I would want to do our School of the Peacock.
Oh yeah.
My part, and I will say that there was definitely, an ulterior motive of trying to pick something outside of the Wizards of the Coast realm to shine some light that's out there. So I wanted to highlight either, Nerdarchy products or, you know, our friends over at Kobold Press have Deep Magic, which has, some wonderful things that are in there as well that were certainly valid options. But
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of. I'm sure there's a bunch of wizard traditions in there.
yeah, it's a lot of great stuff.
I don't remember them all, but I remember when we went through and did them individually because they were. I don't know if they still are, but they were all up on Drive Through RPG. Um, and we did. We did each reviewed each one of them. I remember being particularly impressed with the ring magic tradition, specifically because it had nothing to do with what I thought it was going to be when we first looked at it, and like I thought it was going to be like rings, like circles, right, and have something to do with that, and it's like no, it's literally rings.
So there is the Elementalist and the White Necromancer in here. But then they have a variety of just things that are listed as magic. So some of them, might wind up falling into this as well. And I'm not going to just sit here and try and read a book while we're trying to have a chat. So
You're like, you live chat. I'm going to read this book.
but Nerdarchy is creating new subclasses all the time. We have stuff that's been put up on the website, stuff that's been put out in our products. We have things that go out in newsletters, which the newsletter does wind up getting to the website as well.
We're into a product. Yeah, so when we did the Peacock video, a lot of the internet did not agree with us and thought it should be a bard. Should have been a bard college. I think Doug felt the same way too. But like that was kind of the point to me, was for it to be to make a wizard tradition that wasn't very wizardy.
Yes.
Yeah, be a bit unconventional.
And that's one of the things to look at. If you can branch out and kind of go in a direction like the Blade Singer, who goes and touches on the fighter aspecty things, why can't you have a wizard who touches on the more bardy type things? And if all of my cards align, I plan on making a new wizard tradition for my newsletter related to this. As I teased out to Dave beforehand, I'm not guaranteeing, and I'm not going to say what it is, because if I can't get all of my ducks in a row, I don't want to be pigeonholed into making sure that gets done, because I've got a hard deadline of, next Wednesday. So
Yeah. Let's see. There's a couple questions. I'll pick them out real quick. So Brian Smith Ted, when are you going to unleash intellect devourers on your party?
When am I going to unleash intellect devourers
Is
on the
that a
party?
reference to something? Or
I I don't know. I mean, the fact that intellect devourers, are nasty, dangerous, low challenge monsters that will wish to eat the intellect of the party. I don't know. That certainly is something to think about, but whether it be next session or not at all, I can't really tease, what's going to happen in the game, because what if one of my players happens to watch this, and then now they're gonna be forewarned and be able to put themselves against me.
oh no. Oh, was that possibly untraditionally arcane spoiler there?
I may or may not be. I can neither confirm nor deny.
I don't think your players watch this, so you're fine. You'll be good.
Well, I think Frag does.
Yeah, that's true. You know, intellect devourers, they're like mech pilots. They pilot mechs, meat suits. There
Uh,
was another question as well from Chris. Do you have a better term or idea for a separate school of magic or healing spells? It's been a pet peeve of mine that healing is split between necromancy and evocation. Um,
so a separate school.
did he used to, was it, is it, or was it conjuration at one point?
Healing used to be conjuration, yeah.
And then
Uh,
it, is
now,
it
now,
necromancy
now
now? I don't remember.
so you could totally go down the road of science.
Hmm.
Actually use medicine and herbs to kind of magically stitch things back together. That's the direction I would go if you were seriously trying to break the barrier and give wizards access to healing. Um, that's where I would go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think they're talking about for. I think they're just talking about a school of magic, not to give the wizards.
Ah, okay.
I don't think wizards should get access to healing anyway.
I don't either. I was just trying to answer Chris's question, and I apparently yeah. So what happened to the monsters that were immune to magic? That would mess with uppity wizards. There's still some that are out there. First and foremost, the Rakshasa. That definitely has got some major fu power to Mr. Spellcasters.
We also have the Minotaur, our Minotaur. I can't think of the name. Doug's in the chat. He'll supply it, I'm sure.
Yes, Doug, respond.
I forget. I've used it and I've run that several times. For whatever reason, I cannot think of the name of the Minotaur we made. It had some minor spell immunity.
Mm.
Um, dang it. I'm gonna blame it on my shot. Yeah, that's the ticket.
You're going to blame it on the shot. Excellent. Well done. Um,
Let's see. Question: do you have information to help put nerdarchy subclasses into D&D Beyond, either a step-by-step instruction or screenshots for new people? I'm surprised they don't have like tutorials over there. I would think they would.
so they definitely
Spell Eater
have.
Minotaur. That's it. Thank you, Doug.
That's our go-to man right there.
Yeah.
There's definitely ways to put stuff into homebrew under your stuff, and there's definitely ways to put it up there as you wish to share it out to everybody. Um, you know,
Yeah, that's part of the problem. Like, there's not a way for us to put it on there and without like just giving everything away. Um, so which we do have a bunch of subclasses at this point. Blame it on Mountain Dew. Of course, it was Mountain Dew all along. My
the
nemesis.
spell eater minotaur is in the order of the wizened and Horus the Horn Lord.
Yeah, I've actually run both of those several times.
Cool.
They're fun. Well, so Horus the Horn Lizard, horned lizard,
Horn Lord.
Horus the Horned one. is fun because it's like it kind of starts with a party and ends with a summoning. So that may or may not end the world. Um, I think I think I ran at it. I think I ran that at D&D in a castle, and I kind of like added to it to pad it out a little bit.
Mhm.
And they decided to complete the ritual themselves and summon Baphomet and serve him.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah,
mean, you have all things that can happen in D&D. I was reading a meme on Facebook, talking about, oh, DM creates this epic session one where they get to meet the BBEG right away, and the next panel is and the players join forces from moment one. It's like, well,
yeah.
there goes the campaign.
No, no,
But
it's just changed.
yeah, and that's that was my point exactly of you just alter the direction. And you know we at Nerdarchy, we've run a handful of evil games, and some to better success than others, and it really depends upon you know what kind of direction that you want to take with it. you know a straight up, I'm just going to kill everything and try to conquer kind of evil game, I've never had much success with it. But anytime we've approached the matter, from an intelligent aspect, from intelligent direction, the game is able to go and last for quite a ways. But the second that somebody is like, screw this, I'm going to go and not care about the plan, or I'm going to deviate from, the things that are logical, things begin to fall apart quite quickly. Um, it doesn't take long for the world to decide, all right, screw it. We need a group of paladins to come in here and stomp all over these butts. So
Well, the other problem is too when you're talking about like a game that goes into the evil direction is like I would say like the evil good axis really is just like selfish versus selfless, and the more a group of people together that are all very selfish
mhm.
does not lead to very good team cohesiveness, right? Because eventually, at least somebody's going to, at least one of them is going to decide, they want what they want at the expense of everybody else, which does not work well in a cooperative game.
Indeed. But I am certain that there are DMs out there who have made it work. There's DMs who, even when you decide, oh well, I'm going to take this deviation, how can you course correct? And we are playing a game of fantasy, of make believe. So there are always going to be ways to be like, well, you know what? Screw realistic. We're here to have fun. We're here to play a game. So let's just play the game.
So, what was your impetus for traditionally uh, uh, untraditionally arcane?
Um, so as we were wrapping up season 4 of the Chaos Crew, we began workshopping a handful of ideas, and somebody put out the idea of the all class party. And I honestly, I don't remember who it was that threw that bag into the mix, threw that idea out there. But we had been talking about the all class party for a while. We've got all those videos over on the primary channel of how this is how you do this is how you do that. And I'm like, okay, I really like that, but I hadn't locked in a class, so I'm like, okay, what is everybody feeling? And a couple people were like, I think wizards would be a lot of fun. There was definitely some questions, some thoughts put out there. And once I said, if we go all wizard, then this is more the direction that we're looking at, role playing, exploration. very light on combat, and everybody seemed to be on board. And the storyline began to form in my head of what kind of things I wanted to do as a kind of a jumping off point. And we got to have we got to get this rolling. And then I threw the curveball of no 8 primary schools, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have fun with this.
Did anyone have problems choosing?
I mean, there was some a little bit of discussion, but it wasn't like, oh no, I wanted to play this one and I wanted to play that. There wasn't any squabbling over it. Everybody pretty quickly was like, okay, I'm playing this, I'm playing this, I'm playing that. So
Yeah, definitely lends itself to a different kind of game.
oh,
Also, they better hope they don't run into any Rahaskas,
Rock Sasha.
Roxashas.
That's how I pronounce it anyway. There's plenty of D&D monsters I'm sure I pronounce incorrectly, but
I'll go with yours. It's better than mine. So.
After almost 30 years of playing this game, anything that's in my head, that's canon. I'm not gonna fight it.
You're not changing it.
I'm not changing it. I'm sorry.
Get off my lawn.
So Aaron of Tech and Motorcycles wants to know, so wizards can't heal, so what do you do if someone multi-classes into a wizard bard or wizard cleric? That's the rules of the game. We're talking, there's no multi-class. They're wizards. End of story. But we do have a halfling who has got Mark of Healing. So they do have access to some kind of healing. It's just, very minor. But since we're not going super heavy on the combat, hopefully it's not going to be too big a deal. They do have some access to some potions as well. So we think it's gonna be fine. But double underscore question, now that you've played a game from level 1 through 20, do you prefer brief games like you do on Tuesday night games or longer adventures?
Wait a minute. Do we have a second double underscore?
I think so.
I know one of them is a doppelganger.
I'm thinking the one that I just answered the question of. That's the doppelganger. Unless they happen to have 2 accounts. But it's still the same person. But all right, so what are your thoughts? Do you prefer the short sessions, where you tell a story over a set story arc, or do you prefer the long the longer story, doing the whole adventure?
Well, I mean, even like the shorter ones, like in your campaign, like me, well, 3 of us used our continued using our own old characters, sort of. So you ran a campaign, where I think we started at level 4.
I think it was level 4, and we did a 12-session story arc, and it was designed to be 12 sessions. You were going to gain a level every other session, regardless of where.
Yeah, we ended at 10. So, and we started this one at 10.
Right.
And I think we just gained level 13.
Correct. Just this past Saturday night.
This just this past Saturday night. So, so I mean, again, I've been playing this character for pretty long time. I mean, I don't know. What is that? 9 levels. So it's not bad. It's still pretty long, and we're still going. I don't know how many sessions we have left on this campaign.
This is protracted. This one's going to be a while.
What I'm hearing is you haven't figured out how to wrap this one up or where it ends.
I mean, I had planned for there to be multiple locations, but I also didn't know how much you guys wanted to do in the desert.
We didn't go. We haven't done very much. We haven't gone very far.
I was pretty shocked when I put out the the legendary treasure of blah 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 whatever it was. I mean, there was some discussion about it, but nobody was like, let's gung ho, let's go do that. I'm like, all right, great. I don't need to prepare this dungeon because all I did was taking your example of putting out rumors and plot threads to see who wants to what things you want to unravel, um, what rabbit sense you're going to go after, whatever. Um, you know, what bait? That's the word I'm looking for. What bait you're going to go
Yeah.
after?
I think we've pivoted and changed a couple of times too. We're
Well,
like,
I
we're
mean
going to do this. And we're like, I don't really care about that.
that is the delight of this particular group, and
Yeah. Yeah. Delight. That's a word. Like, I mean, it is the same group. We're like, what are you guys doing next? Want to do next week? We're like, we're definitely doing this, Ted. And then next week comes around and we're like, forget that. We got a new plan. You wrote material for what we said we're going to do? Too bad.
yeah, you guys like to keep me on my toes, and you know what? That's fine. I ran that, my campaign 2, and I didn't really give you guys a choice. This was the adventure, and I it was a hard railroad, but everybody seemed to have fun. Everybody seemed to go in that direction. But this one here, I've left
Well,
things
no,
more.
it wasn't because session 0, like we picked, like you gave us like 3 options.
Mm-hmm.
We picked one. And then we, like, in our session 0, we tied all of our characters together and built out the backstory of like how we got to level 4. Um, which was kind of like around, it was all kind of like based around one of those 3 things that we picked.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it was a railroad.
Oh well, from my direction, it was because I literally I wrote out, what was going to happen,
Yeah.
in advance. I was preparing material, writing monsters, and in some cases, a literal, multi room dungeon to be able to be done, that night. I would leave it on elements. I was like, okay, this is what's happening here, so that the start of the next session, you didn't have a choice as to where the story was going to go. I mean, you had choice in things that you did, but when it came, again, from my direction, what material I was prepping to be able to wrap up the story in 12 sessions, I felt it was more like a railroad and a prepared adventure.
No, it didn't feel like that.
Well, I'm glad it came across as
we also didn't trade, like, the thing of here's the thing about the magic of session 0. If you can, if it's done well, it can like plot the whole course of the campaign, and like you're able as the DM to plot out all these story beats and story elements based off of that session 0, where us, the players, were very vested in that same story. Had we just showed up with our characters and played, and you had like an idea of what the arc was going to be, it would have been much easier for us as the players to be like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to stay in the tavern and talk to Bob the Goblin for about 3 sessions, because that seems more fun right now. But because like we already hated this guy, going into it, and like you let us build out the backstory as to why we hated this guy.
Mm-hmm.
That kept us motivated and on track to track this wizard down, who had already done some bad stuff and messed with the town and messed with people in the town, and he got away from us, right? So,
and on top of that, I made sure that he was still that he was regularly a thorn in your side. So
yeah.
he was in session 0, he was in session 4, he was in session 8, he was in session 10, 12. So he was there to remind you of, I'm smarter than you, I'm better than you, what have you. Slight deviation, thank you to Gemini Samimi. Hope I'm saying that correct. For the super chat, always appreciative and awesome when you guys do that. I like the idea of hit points are not life, but luck or plot armor, and only the gods or ridiculous magic can affect a person's luck.
Hit points have always been an abstraction. They're not actually like physically how not only physically how tough you are. It's like a lot of different factors, and it could easily be luck or plot armor, like you say. I mean, the idea that hit points actually represent your physical health, it would be ridiculous, because along the same line of thought and reasoning, we'd have to agree you're getting hit with great swords, war hammers, shot with arrows, stabbed with spears, and dragons are literally breathing fire on you. Which I don't know if there's enough hit points for all of that. Once you get run through with a spear once or twice, generally you're not going to be looking so hot.
Yeah, it's always been a little bit ridiculous, and we like to think, that as we make these heroes, and we make an attack, we want that attack to look cool. So sometimes, like, oh, I run him through with the sword, or I chop off his arm. Well, a lot of these things really don't function if I did 3 damage, I did 8 damage, the thing's got 150 hit points. How much can you really bleed him out with those kind of
Yeah.
attacks? I hate going back to this this is well off the mark of schools of magic, but Dave has done martial arts. I've done a wee bit of martial arts, and actually armored sword fighting, and I can tell you, like, when you parry a blow, a blade coming in at you, if they got enough oomph and they're a stronger opponent, just the parry can send a wave of pain up your arms. It can hurt just in blocking. We've talked before, oh, well, you move quickly to the side. You technically didn't get hurt, but maybe you got jarred, maybe it just took a little bit of steam out of your engine, so to speak. So yeah, we're not getting run through and chopped to pieces and stabbed and skewered and what have you, but if you describe it that way, it doesn't sound as cool, it's not as fun. um so you either try to go realistic and go in that direction, or what, this is a freaking fantasy world. You get stabbed and skewered all the time, and somehow your organs kind of do the dance inside and move out of the way of any vital strike until you get down to that last 10 hit points. And then, oh God, you got me. Oh God. Ah!
So Brian Smith wants to know ideas for unique tests for different schools of magic. The word school makes me think of tests. Well, I think like the schools themselves do a really great job of defining what they are. So I feel like evocation, passing that test really is going to involve blowing something up. Divination is going to be your ability to discern what's going to kind of happen next, or maybe what's happened, piece together what's happened before. So coming up with tests for individual schools of magic, I don't think it's too hard, because the schools are pretty well defined.
Illusion, you need to trick somebody. Enchantment, you need to convince somebody of something. Like, you could come up with something, for each and every one, everything, leading towards, and leaning heavily on the what is the concept of that school, what do they do. All right, can you construct something for abjuration to protect an item that's very fragile. And all of these should require an intellect test, maybe using a skill that's not intelligence, that would then, like, for your enchantment, can I use persuasion intelligence to try and logic my way through an argument? I think that could be a very cool aspect for that. um, so if you go into that direction, I think that would be something that is really cool. And Brian, thank you. I might play around with some of those ideas in my untraditionally arcane.
Yeah, I also wonder if your game didn't almost become like a Harry Potter game. Uh, Also,
No, there was
shout out to Wizards of the Coast for sending us some books, which we're gonna give away. Um, I don't know, 2 or 3 copies of Candlekeep Mysteries, which you can get that by being one of our by joining our newsletter.
Yeah, I had shared, that last week, as well. So we definitely have books on the giveaway pile. Now that we're, 20 minutes to 9, I will pull out the box. I apologize if you happen, if you were on the chat last week. Totally didn't do my homework. I didn't pull the list of, what we're going to be giving away for next month. Um, you know, it's already halfway through the month, and I wasn't the one here 2 weeks ago when we announced the winner. So that box is already in the mail, but you can backtrack and find out what that was. Uh, but I've determined there's a lot of stuff on the shelf, so I'm doing a fairly decent sized giveaway here. So we've got a copy of The North Road by our friends over at Quest Givers.
We had half of them on last week.
Uh, we have got the No Prep Game Master. We've got copies of both of those things, sitting on the shelf. From our friends at D&D, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, your little adventure journal. You can be able to track things. From Dungeon Crate, we've got a Halcyon map puzzle. From our lovely friends over at Easy Roller Dice, we've got a dice tray and metal dice set. And almost done, we've got from Son of Dak Game Studios, City of Mist, the folios and the beginner package. So yeah, quite a bunch.
We'll have one of the folks on this week from City of Mist too to talk about City of Mist and gaming and all that good stuff.
Very cool. Well, you can let them know that we are giving away a set. We've got another one still on the shelf as well, but it's already boxed, ready to go, and we will announce the winner for that the first week of April. So be on the look.
No April Fools.
Yes, no April Fools.
That was a solid thump when you dropped that box.
Yeah, it's got some serious weight. I mean, that a number of books, a dice tray, a set of metal dice.
That's like a couple $100 of stuff.
Yeah, I would say at least $200 retail.
Double underscore. Which traditional school of magic has the least sizzle in your opinion?
That's tricky. They all have the things that they do best. There we go. I'm gonna pull up the classes.
No, Brian, we were live today. We had J Dragon on talking about Wonder Home and some other RPGs they've written. Wonder Home is a really successful Kickstarter. They did like 300,000 and 6,000 backers. So right. Yeah, it is on. It should be on the channel.
I will say necromancy because Nerdarchy has talked for quite a while about our viewpoints on the creation of things that are evil, even if you are using them to make a positive impact in some way, shape, or form. You are choosing to bring evil into the world, and for that, since D&D tends to be a heroic game, I'm going to put my stamp and say that necromancy has the least amount of appeal and sizzle, if you want to use your terms, to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I feel like all of them kind of like, to me, like abjuration is kind of the most boring. But that's because it's like consistent, it's steady, it's reliable. It's not bad, right? It's just that, like, it's not exciting. Like, there's no razzle dazzle to it. It's just like, nope, I'm just gonna stop bad things from happening. That's what I do. It's kind of like it's like it's very like reliable and predictable. It does what it's supposed to do. Whereas some of the other schools of magic are a bit more exciting.
Mine says that evocation has the most sizzle.
Yeah, there's a lot of sizzle going on there, and sparks as well. So, but I I could play all of the 8 schools and have fun with them. Like I've played several of them. Maybe not all in this edition, but in throughout the editions, I've played enchanters, I've played illusionists, I've played an invoker, for a while before that character kind of morphed into something else. So, uh, necromancy also doesn't have a lot of appeal to me either, just because we tend to play heroes and heroic games. So, the heroic necromancer has never really been my thing.
I have not played a lot of wizards over the years. A lot of my earlier, uh, gaming, we played a little. Dave and Steve were our primary GMs, and they were pretty ruthless. So playing the classes that were the most squishy, especially back in the days when wizards were a D4, there wasn't a whole lot of appeal to me. And getting
Like, I
squished and
want to
dying.
live, damn it, I want to live.
So I tended to play clerics and fighters and that kind of stuff
Yeah,
because I would survive for a lot longer. Um, and it bred into me for many years of I play fighter characters. But many years later, here we are at, playing 5th edition, and nothing is off the table for me. But I haven't played a lot of wizards. But I like the characters that I've made, and I agree with Dave. I could play pretty much anything. Um, I wonder if it's possible, to play a necromancer, tap into, the necromantic abilities and spells without calling forth the undead. I mean, like some of their class abilities you would just not ever get to use if you were to go that direction, but that's possible.
it is possible. Yeah, I feel like we need another like necromancer. Like, we need the ectomancer from Dresden Files. I think that would be
Well,
a lot of fun.
Deep Magic has the white necromancer in it, I will say.
Yeah.
So, like, I think even putting the term, necromancy on it, um, definitely, definitely goes down. Still has that connotation. So, I would think maybe a school of magic or a wizard tradition that deals in spirits, that's
Yeah.
not a diviner, I think could be a pretty cool idea. Um, so, you know, could possibly put that concept out there to you know the three of us, the four of us that
I think
do
we
writing.
did. I think we did that video, man. I think we made that. I think we made a class, to be or a subclass, I should say. To be honest with you, we create so much. Sometimes I forget what it is that we do or done. But I
Well,
think honestly, I think we have.
it's entirely possible. Viking Beard 1970. Thank you for the nice comment. We try our best to do all the fun things. To answer Tech and Motorcycles question, right now, we are still isolating. So I could autograph a book, and if there happens to be, a time I'm heading in the direction towards Dave, I could try and stop by and get him to socially distance autograph. But for the time being, that's not really happening.
Yeah, and
But in
then
the
I
ample time,
guess I guess in another 3 weeks, and then 2 weeks after that, I'll be vaccinated, but you still won't be.
correct.
So I can still be a plague rat to your house. We did do a good necromancer. The video's on the channel somewheres.
Okay, so you have to figure out if that's ever been recorded somewhere and put into the works.
Well, so I'm looking at the video worksheet right now,
Hmm.
and we definitely did we we did a write up for a
Okay.
tradition. Yeah, channel spirit guide, inured to death, rebuke undead, enemy of undeath. So yeah,
All
I
right.
don't know if
Well,
it's made it anywhere else, but it does live someplace.
all right. Well, we'll have to make sure that that gets put somewhere, and so it's not lost to the ages.
Yeah. So, how would you fix the Wizard schools to appeal to more players? I don't know. I feel like Wizards get played plenty in our games. Like, I don't know if in your games are not getting played, just by wanting to play a Wizard, yeah, you got to pick a school, right? Or I mean, there is a couple traditions that aren't schools, but for the most part, I feel like they generally get played. I mean, the only reason I haven't really played any more Wizards in our games is because, well, I played one for 20 levels. I mean, I had some fighter levels, but mostly Wizard.
So the question is, like, if it's not happening at your table, you have to find out from your players why they don't particularly choose wizards. Is it's not appealing to those players as a character choice? Is it the way that the DM is playing a game, similar to what I went through in my earlier days with the group that eventually started Nerdarchy? Um, but I mean, I've played Wizards. I enjoy it. You know,
Also, Wizard was very different back then as well. I
mhm.
mean, heck, they have
D4,
a whole die 6 hit points now.
they have a D6. First level is maxed. I mean, we had what was it, ninth level character who had 15 hit points.
I think he was only seventh, but I think
Seventh.
yeah, just the way I increased the value of your Conan, the board game collection. Every time I talk about it, I think you keep raising his character's level.
But a seventh level character with only 15 hit points,
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous, especially, when you talk about death
Don't forget
is,
his title
oh God. I don't even remember the full title.
is the Necromancer of Doom.
Oh, I think there's more to it than that. Um, but I mean, uh, second edition death was at, permadeath was at, or auto death was at -10. So, I mean, literally 25 points of damage and he was just gone. Like, uh, so,
It was a
but
different time. The
it
gods
was
were
a
cruel and
time.
petty. But, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think the wizard needs anything. I think it's good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they've got the best spell list in the game. Unless you want to heal, then not so much. But for the most part, they got the best spell list in the game.
They have a great spell list. They've got, the capabilities of, putting rituals in their book. And once they do so, they never have to, they never have to prepare that spell again as long as they have time to ritual cast it. And over time, putting all of those rituals, in the book, they get the most expansive spell list because they can put a spell in their book and just be able to trade them out each day, unlike the other casters who have to swap out only at level ups. They're really incredible, and therefore some people think they're too intimidating. The only issue I think about being a wizard, the problem I have of my wizard is more intelligent than I am. They're gonna make better choices than I would.
Except for I'm playing them. So
But I get to make the choices. I get to say the things, and that doesn't always work. So yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same with really charismatic characters as well. If you yourself are not very charismatic, it is tough. But you can make those good intelligence proficiency checks, which is always been like a little bit of a pet peeve now in 5e is like the smartest character in the game is kind of the least skilled.
hmm I think
So
they were like trying to move away from the earlier editions where the higher intelligence got you more skills. Second and third did have that kind of bonus skill proficiency angle, which did turn.
it also used to determine your number of languages you knew as well.
You know,
Smart you were. Yeah, we've gone very mono stat. Like really, like we should just get rid of 5 of the stats and be like, you have a stat. It does whatever you need it to do. Because it does seem kind of like that's the road Wizards wants to go down.
well, I don't think they could ever get rid of all of them. Like, you would have, your, you would need your body, your constitution, something to apply hit points. You need something that is your primary attribute. Um,
I
I
was
don't think.
being snarky, Ted.
Oh, I'm trying to work.
As I play my battlesmith, as long as I use a magic weapon, I can beat you with my mind through this mace.
Yeah, I know. There's some of the things that they do are, a little off kilter and what have you, but
Brian agrees that's what makes the wizard incredible. It is all about the spells
but
and fireball. Let's face it; it's about fireballing stuff. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that Jacob from XP to Level 3 has a video that just sums this up.
I can't.
It might be called Fireball is Dumb. I'm not sure because a lot of his spells are something's dumb. But
All right, since Doug is throwing it out there, I'll bring it up. It's like that sounds like someone who wants to play Quest.
Oh, because the stats don't matter anymore,
And there aren't,
and there are no stats. We just roll a d20.
There are no stats in Quest. So I will tease out that once Dungeons and Delving is complete and the DM rotation turns, Doug will be running a game on the channel, and he will be, using Quest, which is why I went and picked up the book so that I can be able to, properly prepare. And it's a very easy to, manage system. I haven't read into the DM stuff yet, but
You don't need that stuff.
I don't because I'm a player.
Yeah, I should also pick up that book.
The there's a companion app that allows you to just kind of go through things. Pretty streamlined. You can make a character in 10 minutes or under. You don't have to worry about a race or a background. All you really need to do is worry about conceptually, things that you are looking to do, what kind of character you're looking to play. And, every roll is a D20. So you don't need anything, super fancy.
Yeah. So have you checked out how the rules work?
Other than I made my character so I know what kind of abilities and stuff that I have. I chose to make a fighter, and he swings a sword which does 2 damage if I hit. You know, I've looked at some of the cool abilities. You've got 10 health, you've got 10 AP. Your health you can rest and recover up to half if you are below half. Your AP only resets when you do something that would warrant it. It doesn't come back. It doesn't come back. When you rest, so it's set until the DM thinks you've earned more. So I do like that. And some abilities players have, you can only do it costs AP. So when you're out, you can't do that thing anymore. But some things are just free all the time. So therefore, things are much more streamlined. You can only hold, you only have, I think, 12 spaces to hold gear. So you don't have the burden of too much equipment and decisions of what do I do here. And it's got pretty fast advancement. The way it's designed is when you complete a session, you can choose another class ability. And they're divided into different subcategories under your class. And you're not limited to, I'm going to stick to just this one. You have options of all, but they're all in a tier-based system. So I'll take one from here and one from here and one from here, then I'll take 2 from here, and boom. And at first rank or first tier, you usually start with 6. Um, you know, so pretty easy.
So double underscore. Yeah, I guess I misunderstood. It seemed like players chose everything except Wizard in the Nerdic Live games, RPG games, and easy roller dice games.
Well,
Yeah, in the game that Ted's running, like they were going to play all Wizards, and then like he threw them the curveball, going, no, none of the 8 schools of magic. You have to choose something else.
so 3 of them chose, um, you know, well, 2 of them chose a wizard school, a Wizards of the Coast school. One of them chose an Unearthed Arcana. Um, one of them chose Graviturgy, which that's Critical Role, and Wizards, combination. But one of them did choose a Nerdarchy created subclass. So
As far as how does Quest work without the inspiration mechanic, I don't know, Brian, but I'm going to find out apparently soon. With that, we are just past the hour mark, and it is that time. But we'll be back here tomorrow night, the same time, where we'll be playing Dungeons and Delving, and of course, we have a full week of live chats ahead of us, and then we'll be back same time, same place a week from now. But it'll be me and Doug instead of me and Ted, talking about something. Not sure what yet, but we'll figure that out between now and then. So until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.